Hey guys, it's your Mary and welcome back to our channel. Finally guys, nagbabalik ako. Pasensya na, it took me a while to get back kasi nga alam naman natin nagkasakit ako. Obviously, to be honest then with you guys, sa mga hindi nakakaalam, I had COVID and right now, nagpapagaling na ako pero hindi pa ako nakakalabas ng bahay. So yeah, work muna tayo from home. So yeah, last month, nakita niya yung ating Huawei P50 Pro video. And a lot of you guys were actually wondering kung kailan ba lalabas yung ibang phone na kasama sa series na yon. And eto na nga yun, wala tayong Ultra, wala tayong Pro Plus, but their very first small and cute folding device. And hindi naman ito technically yung kauna-unahang folding smartphone mechanism na i-release nila, but for this kind of form factor, actually, first time nila to. By the way, the color that I got pala for the Huawei P50 Pocket is the white one. And if you guys are wondering, nakikita nyo rin sa mga promotions nila na meron siyang gold version. Ang tawag na kulay doon is premium gold, and sa pagkakaalam ko, it's obviously their premium version of this one dahil nga bukod sa kulay, that one is available in 12 gig of RAM. This one naman guys, yung white, only available for 8 gig of RAM. Surprisingly, unlike yung flip na nirelease ng Samsung, manipis yung packaging nun and wala tayong kasamang power brick inside the box. But with the Huawei P50 Pocket, it's your typical box. And syempre, expect natin na may mga power brick siya sa loob and of course, case. We got the phone itself. Ito siya and it comes with a paper packaging. Hindi po siya plastic. And that one, ayan na guys. It's in white. It's not plain white meron siyang texture and kung i-feel nyo siya, actually hindi nyo siya ma-feel now. Pero if in case man na pupunta kayo ng mga Huawei stores, ma-feel nyo rin yung kanyang texture. So basically, it's not just a design, it's there to add additional grip. Underneath the phone, meron din tayong of course panundot or the SIM ejector tool na miss kong sabihin yan, no? Ito siya, guys. Hello, focus, cameraman. We got this, and then, ito, meron tayong clear jelly case. Teka, buksan natin. It's not a jelly case, but it sure is flexible, and of course, may mga adhesive lang siya para mas kakapit siya doon sa ating Huawei P50 Pocket. Meron din siyang kasamang, of course, Huawei Supercharged Power Brick na merong 40-watt capability. And huling-huli, may USB Type-C to USB Type-A na charging cable tayo. So, Huawei P50 Pocket. Before we start with the design, gusto ko lang sabihin na I love seeing foldable phones na lumalabas hindi lang from the brand Samsung. It gives us actually more options and I wish hindi lang yung brand ng Huawei and Samsung yung maglalabas ng mga maliliit na folding device. Recently, no, nakita natin, Oppo released their Oppo Find N. It's just that hindi siya lumabas globally. Kahit na hindi yung premium o gold yung kulay na meron tayo right now, I can feel na yung Huawei P50 Pocket talaga is on the premium side. Probably dahil doon sa kanyang may pagka-diamond effect na texture. Tawag dito ni Huawei is 3D micro sculpture design. Isa to sa mga unang tinitingnan ko sa mga folding devices, lalo na yung mga recent ones. Kung maalala nyo, yung Oppo Find N, wala siyang gap. And if we were to compare that to the folding devices that was released by Samsung, that's actually very impressive. And pangalawa ngang makikita natin ngayon na walang gap is the Huawei P50 Pocket. Kung i-compare natin siya side by side with the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, yung recent one nila of course, the gap on the Huawei P50 Pocket is almost non-existent. What makes this an advantage? Syempre, unang-una sa lahat guys, the aesthetic. It makes it more seamless and mas magandang tignan sa mata. Pangalawa, of course, yung importance nito is hindi siya papasukan ng mga alikabok, sand, or any particles na dapat nating of course iwasan, lalo na if folding device yung ginagamit natin. Now, when it comes to its hinge, medyo may difference siya dito sa Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. It's not really a bad difference. It's like the Huawei P50 Pocket really wants to be opened. Ayan, hawak ko yung dalawang folding device and nabubuksan ko ng isang kamay yung Huawei P50 Pocket. This is actually very subjective. It's not that important, pero yeah, it's worth pointing out. Anyway, kung mapapansin nyo, meron lang din siyang Huawei branding doon sa kanyang pinaka-hinge sa likod, and meron din tayong isa pang Huawei branding doon sa kanyang pinaka-likuran. When folded, nasa kanan ng ating power button, that is also a fingerprint sensor. And then sa ilalim naman nito ay nandito yung ating volume rockers. I actually like the placement of the volume rockers, guys. Hindi siya masyadong bababa, hindi siya mahirap gamitin as compared doon sa Samsung Z Flip 3 na masyadong mababa. We also have the SIM tray na located sa kaliwa, and then sa ilalim nandito yung ating isang microphone, yung ating speakers, and of course the USB Type-C port. Surprisingly, guys, yung ating Huawei P50 Pocket is expandable via NM card. And yup, single SIM lang ang pwede natin gamitin sa kanya. Speaking of the SIM card pala, guys, this is not 5G ready, kahit na Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset yung meron tayo sa kanya. Anyway, since we are talking about yung kanyang design, pag-usapan natin yung kanyang pinaka cover display. Actually, this is what you call smart cover display by Huawei. And dito sa display na to, guys, kung mapapansin nyo, circular yung kanyang shape na kaparehas na meron tayo sa kanyang camera module na nasa ilalim niya lang din. Kung hindi nyo rin ma-imagine yung kanyang pinaka-cover display or the smart cover display, it's actually the same size of the old 5 peso coin. Wala kasing exact size na binigay sa atin si Huawei, so yun na lang yung ating pinaka-reference. Itong pinaka-smart cover display, dito natin ma-access yung ating mga widgets katulad ng calendar, weather, camera application, and actually that's basically it. And if you are wondering, yes, makikita natin ang ating notifications once we swipe down. Aside from this, makikita rin natin yung music na piniplay natin once we swipe to the right. Yung wallpaper natin sa kanya, guys, actually magaganda yung choices na meron tayo sa settings. And this is fully customizable depending on what we want to display sa ating pinaka-smart cover. Siguro yung nakikita kong con lang sa ating pinaka-smart cover is yung number of widgets na pwede nating ilagay sa kanya. Could have been better, guys, kung pwede rin tayong mag-set ng alarm, timer, and also hindi rin basta-basta mag-pop up yung ating notification once we receive one, dahil kailangan pa natin siyang i-swipe down para makita or malaman kung may na-receive man tayong message. So far, gusto ko yung ating design na ginawa ng Huawei dito. Although medyo slippery lang siya, pero nakatulong yung texture niya sa kanya para hindi masyadong magsaslide din sa ating kamay yung Huawei P50 Pocket. Although, of course, you have to be careful lang, guys, in case that you will be getting the Huawei P50 Pocket in the future. Wala po siyang IP rating or whatsoever. So, ingat na lang sa paggamit in case man that we're gonna be laying by the pool or sa beach. Now, it's time to talk about yung kanyang inner display or yung pinaka-main display natin ng Huawei P50 Pocket. As you can see, matangkad yung ating display. It's actually 6.9 inches. Meron din siyang 2K OLED 120Hz display. And yup, 21:9 yung aspect ratio natin dito. It's your typical aspect ratio na nakikita natin sa cinemas. So yeah, if every time na manonood tayo ng movie, perfect na perfect lang yung kanyang size. The internal display, guys, is actually excellent naman. It feels like I'm using talaga flagship. Obviously, this is their flagship phone. Smooth din ang aking scrolling sa kanya, and super bright naman ang images. As for the crease in the middle, I would say it is barely noticeable, probably because of my wallpaper. Minsan kasi, guys, yung mga crease natin sa mga folding devices na ginagamit natin depends on the wallpaper that we are using. If you prefer using yung mga medyo white or medyo black, dito mapapansin talaga natin yung crease ng Huawei P50 Pocket. And yes, you can certainly feel pa rin naman, guys, when scrolling, but hindi siya masyadong distracting, and wala naman din siyang masyadong impact sa akin when it comes to my daily interactions sa screen. Ngayon, pag-usapan natin yung cameras na meron tayo sa Huawei P50 Pocket. And actually, ito yung isa sa pinaka nakikita kong advantage ng phone na to. Alam naman natin that whenever we buy folding devices, yung form factor talaga yung hinahabol natin sa kanya and not really the cameras as our priority. But with the Huawei P50 Pocket, it did not disappoint at all. And to be specific, meron tayong tatlong camera sa kanya. Isang 40 megapixels true chroma camera, meron din tayong 13 megapixels ultra-wide angle camera, and a 32 megapixels ultra spectrum camera. And lastly, para naman doon sa kanyang front camera na located sa ating main display, that is actually 10.7 megapixel selfie camera. I'll be very honest with you guys, when it comes to the cameras of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, hindi ako masyadong fan. Although, it still is giving me a flagship experience, pero it's nothing comparable doon sa kanilang S21 series. Kaya naman talagang naghahanap ako ng folding device na makakapagbigay sa akin ng magandang camera performance. I'm not exaggerating it, guys. Yung kulay are actually very rich. Portrait shots natin are just spectacular, as Huawei didn't even put bleeding edge doon sa kanyang camera hardware. Although, do take note, hindi siya compared to the Huawei P50 Pro na may collaboration with Leica. So, technically, hindi naman siya sobrang parehas na parehas doon sa binigay sa akin ng Huawei P50 Pro na alam naman natin talagang napakaganda ng kulay. Pero syempre, mas social media worthy naman compared sa previous flip phone na ginagamit nga natin. So let me give you a very quick camera tour. Kung mapapansin nyo, when we are using the rear cameras, meron tayong 4 na zoom toggles. Of course, we have the ultra-wide, the 1 times, the 2 times, and of course, the 5 times. Wala tayong dedicated telephoto lens sa kanya. Pero in fairness naman, kahit papano acceptable yung ating mga digital zooms, pero hanggang 5 times lang. Although, syempre, makakapag-zoom naman tayo until 10 times, pero hindi na siya as impressive kung ikukumpara natin sa mga phones na merong dedicated telephoto lens. When we go naman sa kanyang more menu, this is your typical camera features na makikita sa isang flagship phone ng Huawei, katulad ng slow motion, panorama, monochrome, AR lens, time-lapse, stickers, documents, dual view, higher resolution, story creator, snapshot, and fluorescence. Huwag kayo mag-alala guys, when it comes to the night mode, pwedeng natin gamitin ito sa 4 niyang camera toggles like the ultra-wide, 2 times, and of course the 5 times zoom. As per video resolution naman, meron tayong option hanggang 4K at 60 FPS. Anyway, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, yung ating pinaka-cover screen, we have the option to use the camera. So meaning guys, pwede tayong mag-take down selfies with using the higher definition cameras. By swiping from the right, kiklik lang natin yung camera application. And then of course, to capture, we just have to click the screen as well. Ang kinagusto ko dito, yung aspect ratio natin ng ating mga photos after taking a photo dito sa ating smart cover display is the same sa ating mga regular photos, unlike when taking photos sa ating Z Flip 3, which takes a 1:1 aspect ratio na medyo disappointing sa part na yon. We can either capture it by tapping yung mismong smart cover display or kaya naman yung volume app. Now, I'm pretty sure, syempre, interested din kayo sa performance na i-offer ng Huawei P50 Pocket. Surprisingly guys, they did not offer us a Kirin chipset na usually, or actually, eto naman talaga consistently yung chipset na binibigay sa atin ng Huawei for the past few years. And now guys, we have actually a different one, and pares lang ito doon sa Huawei P50 Pro kung maaalala nyo at kung napanood nyo nga yung ating review. If hindi pa, I'll be putting na lang the link here. We have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 4G, and again, we have an 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB of internal storage. And yeah, with a Snapdragon 888 and an 8 GB of RAM, guys, yung ating Huawei P50 Pocket did not disappoint. It is indeed a powerhouse. Although, hindi naman ito yung pinaka-latest na Snapdragon chipset na meron tayo dahil alam naman natin that we already have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. But intensive games katulad ng mga Asphalt 9, lalong-lalo na yung iba pang games na nagsusupport ng higher refresh rate can be played without hiccups. Yun nga lang guys, of course, ibang usapan ang battery life. It can be a hindrance which pag-uusapan natin mamaya. By the way, I forgot to mention din, maganda yung audio na ibinigay sa akin ng Huawei P50 Pocket, probably because it has stereo speakers. It gets really loud guys, na to the point na kailangan ko siyang hinaan yung kanyang volume para sa ating, of course, hands-on session. But yes, yung kanyang speakers guys, na-impress niya ako with its clarity, hindi lang yung kanyang volume. Pro ay yung regular box na nakukuha natin typically sa mga phones na mid-range and budget devices. Kasi nga, alam naman natin na yung mga flagship phones ngayon, katulad ng iPhone, Samsung, maninipis na sila dahil wala na nga siyang power brick inside. But just so you know, when it comes to battery, again, 4,000 mAh and capable of 40 watt of Huawei Supercharge itong ating Huawei P50 Pocket. Definitely bigger compared to doon sa 3,300 mAh na binigay sa atin ng Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. Also, mas mabilis din yung charging capability ng phone na to kaysa din sa Z Flip 3. I'm sorry guys if I kept on comparing it to this phone. Alam ko namang may pros and cons silang dalawa. But alam naman natin that they are the closest na meron sa industry natin ng smartphones ngayon. Na-test ko naman yung ating Huawei P50 Pocket guys in both refresh rate modes. And in fairness naman, the Huawei P50 Pocket lasted more syempre when the dynamic option is turned on compared doon if naka-fix 120Hz lang tayo. It lasted me for 8 hours straight as compared kung gagamitin lang natin yung 120Hz fix na tumagal lang ng 6 hours. Siguro guys, yung letdown ko lang talaga dito sa Huawei P50 Pocket is yung non-5G capability niya. It can really be a deal breaker, lalong-lalo na nga na isa siyang high-end device. Pero syempre, kung gusto nyo namang bumili ng Huawei P50 Pocket for its hardware and form factor, it cannot be a big deal for you. Anyway, let me know guys if you want me to make or create a dedicated video comparing the Huawei P50 Pocket to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. Gawin natin yan kapag nakuha na natin yung official price point din ng Huawei P50 Pocket. As of now, pros and cons pa lang yung kaya kong ibigay sa inyo, and that is, of course, the lack of 5G, and pangalawa, deal breaker sa akin ang walang wireless charging capability, probably because ito na nga yung norm sa studio ko ngayon. So, kung walang wireless charging ang isang flagship device, medyo mahirap para sa akin. And pangatlo, medyo nalalaliman talaga ako sa crease niya. Yun lang naman yung aking mga cons. And para sa pros, mas marami pa rin naman kung tutusin. And that would be, number 1, the cameras is indeed very impressive. Siya yung may pinakamagandang camera na set na nakita ko sa isang folding device. Battery is okay, much better compared to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. Third is of course the display. Gusto ko na medyo mas mahaba or mas malaki siya. Mas malaki rin of course yung ating screen real estate. Pang-apat, maganda yung ating stereo speakers. At panghuling-huli guys, para sa ating pros is of course yung kanyang design. So yeah, that's basically it. Once I know the price point, I'll be putting na lang all the details in the description box below. Again, it's your Tagal Mary and see you on our next video. Bye guys!